So going back a little while, I posted up a picture on the Ranger forum of my truck parked behind another Ranger, and you could see the tailgate in front of my grille, and I quite like the look of it. It looked a bit like an XJ, or if a pickup version, the Jeep MJ, and I thought I quite like that, so I took off the spare grille I had. And the idea with this basically is that we're going to use these bars because I like the shape of them. I was thinking of cutting out the grille and putting some vertical bars behind the grille and doing like a Jeep XJ style one, but all the things I was looking at using were not quite the right shape. Like I was going to use some electrical trunking, but it was just too rectangular and it had that funny profile in front of it. So the idea with this is that I can cut these slots out with the vibro tool. We'll cut maybe 7 or 8 of them, and then we'll flush cut the chrome grille, get the middle out of that, and we'll affix these behind it, whether we glue them or use some polyurethane, because that might stick it all right. We'll get some Pure Flex on there, and then afterwards I should probably spray it black, maybe some bed liner, maybe gloss black, I'm not really sure, but we'll see. Right then, let's get to it. Start slitting out some of these. Just buzz that out of there, kind of flush with the sides of it. So it's about 4mm thick. We'll get a couple more of those done. So I have taken the badge off, and now I'm just going to flush cut all of these off for the time being. It does mean that we're going to lose this clip, but I think we'll be alright. We'll see. Maybe we can leave that on for the time being. Alright, so we've changed to a longer blade, and we're just going to dip that in there and get to the bottom of all of these corners and the back of those, and we'll just pop that out. Basically out now. I will tidy up those corners, it's just a case of getting it out like that, and then I'll go down those again and those and figure out what we're going to do with this, because we might be able to keep this support. It just depends where they fall, whether I'll go for an even number or an odd number of grills. Yeah, and that will obviously need scuffing back and everything before we paint it. So they're all flush cut now. The only thing to do will probably be to whip over them with the sander and just blend them in. But yeah, not looking too bad. I think all I'll do with this is just bring that along there, get rid of that. So guys, I had a bit of a thought of this, and I do like the wide style of these bars, but on the back of the load liner there's the opposite kind of, you know, we've been cutting out the deep versions of the back, which are the protruding straight lines at the front. So I've cut out 4 so far, and I kind of looked at the back of the load liner and thought, well, actually that might pay us a bit better, that might look a bit more decent. So I'm going to cut a few of these out, which means cutting, you know, the tops of those out rather than the bottom sort of thing. And we'll give that a go. Like that. I think that'll look a bit better. It'll also be a bit more chamfered, so it'll look nicer from the front and the sides, rather than these. They're a bit more kind of odd looking, if you know what I mean. Plus they've got that texture on them, which we're going to have to sand down anyway. And I've also been trying to figure out the layout. I'm not sure whether to get rid of this and do the whole thing, or just the centre. But what I was thinking of doing is a kind of slightly staggered, so in parallel with that, and then when I got to the middle I'd kind of do a little V shape like that. See how that looked. I don't know. Okay, so the main aim of the game now is going to be to tape some cardboard or something over the front of this, whack a bit of fiberglass in from the back, let it dry, take the cardboard off, and we should be left with a fairly flush repair. And then we can just skim over the top with something and get rid of these voids, because when we paint it we don't want these left because that'll just look gash. So we want to plug these, and then if possible we can rejoin these together and make it look like it was always like that. So just a quick thought for some of you guys who perhaps want to do a matte black grill but don't want to muck up your original. It's quite funny, but the it don't look too shabby behind here, if you know what I mean. So you could always whip the chrome cover off and see how it looks, but it's just a case of all these holes. There's a clip, and it's quite interesting that Ford have obviously, or Mazda in this case or whatever, they've put a screw hole next to each clip, but there's no screws in them. You see there's a boss for a screw, but they've only used the clips, which is quite interesting. But yeah, it's just all these clips around the edge. Pop them off and it all comes off quite easily. Okay, so a bit of a laborious task, but we've binned down all the edges, the faces, etc., and flatted off the chrome, kind of dulled it up a bit so the paint will stick. It's taken a fair while, probably an hour I'd say I've spent doing this. Okay, so we've given this a little bit of a bath. I'm just going to hose it down, rinse it, and then if we bond anything to that, it's going to be nice and clean. So the front's had a quick coat of primer after I roughed it all up. On a totally unrelated note, but here's some knowledge for you. You can see all this green fuzz that's breaking through the back here and that's covered some of these clips. That is actually copper oxide, or it'll be some form of copper sulfate, blah 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 blah, but essentially that's corrosion of the copper. Now when you plate something, you have to make jumps in materials because of the compatibility of the metals, basically. So this is ABS, which you can plate, but generally you'd plate steel or something, and before you plate the chrome onto it, you have to put a layer of copper on before you can put the chrome on. So what you're seeing there is the copper. Right, so I did originally nick the grill off my parts truck, and I've just taken off my grill to see what it looks like, and I'm glad I have, because I've jogged my memory and I actually got rid of the middle support at the bottom to fit this stonking great big thing. So we've only got 6 instead of 7, so we won't worry about that back one, we'll just trim that straight off. What that does mean is that I've got to keep the rest of these points because I can't get rid of the bottom one or anything and cut more of the grill out, because there's going to be fuck all left of it basically. So that's it, just rested in place. I will need to go over here and just put a little crescent in there for the intercooler bulges, because that was a damn big intercooler, and to be honest that was a bit of a tight squeeze. So I'm just going to go get some black electrical tape and make some dummy fins in the grill. So that's the prototype. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bars. So this is the 11 bar grill. I've just switched the design up a little bit and moved the tape. I've pitched them further together basically. So there's 11 bars in it instead of 9, and then we're going to see if we can get rid of these. I'm just going to throw it on the car basically. Alright, so just one more to do. I've worked from the middle and to the right, and then from the middle and to the left, and just hot gluing them in just as a bit of a prototype, and we'll see how it looks. I really want to do bars all the way across, but I just don't think there's going to be enough strength left in this. By the time we cut that out and put a bar over the top of here and whatever, it might end up being a bit flimsy, but we'll just see. We can always just pop these out, it's only hot glue. So once I've done this I'll show you it on the truck. Right, so the hot glue hodgepodge is on there. I did want to go all the way along with these, but now actually looking at it, it don't look too bad. So I think the order of the day might be just to fill these voids in the side and then rip these out one by one and glue them in with some proper stuff. Yeah, I quite like that. What do you reckon? Don't look too bad. Means we'll have to keep behind the grill nice and tidy and give it a little bit of a paint on some of my brackets that I've done. But I think it looks quite cool. Okay, so I didn't get any pictures or videos of the actual fiberglassing process, but as you can see, fiberglassed in there, and I've got the cardboard underneath. Fiberglass over this one. That's just got a bit of extra masking tape to try and hold it up. This one worked out okay as well. The idea is the bottom of that fiberglass is going to sit fairly flush and it's going to save me a bit of sanding. So we'll leave that for 15 minutes for that to dry, and then we'll go do this side as well, same sort of thing. Flip it over, bit of shiny cardboard, tape it underneath, or in this case on top, and just fiberglass the back of it. Do have to sand the back as well and score it up so the fiberglass will stick. But yeah, so I've just taken the tape off. It's sort of worked, but not as neatly as I wanted it to. So order of the day now is to get a flappy wheel, go over that and just cut it back that way and that way, get rid of all that excess and flush it off, and make it so it still clips to the black plastic piece behind it. And then once we've done that, we've got to flush off these and fiberglass the back of these, so it's all nice and neat basically. Do the bottoms as well, because you'll probably see those, but the tops you won't. It's not too bad at the top, but 2 little bits, so that'll be fine. Alright, so flush those back with the flappy wheel now. They're pretty close, so it'd be just a case of flattening them off with a sanding pad or a file or something, and then a bit of P38 on top. As you can see, it's fairly close now. So, same again on the other side. There you go. Fiberglassed, filled, flatted back. No one will ever know. So we have just sanded that down. This one's pretty much flush. This one still needs a bit more work. You can just feel, you can actually see it's not feathered in properly. These are looking quite good. This one's either a bit more fiberglass or a bit of filler, but I tend to quite like using fiberglass because you can still sand it fairly easy, and it's not as likely to crack. I mean, filler's pretty shit really, isn't it? It's pretty flimsy stuff. So just fill them in there, build that back up a bit so we've got a nice edge on there. We've done it paper thin. Same with these, and quick rub down, coat of paint I think. We should be right on there. As you can see, I've been sanding, and this is looking pretty damn good. Fiberglassed in there. Gonna finish my grill today. So I didn't get far on it, look. Started this back in the summer, and I need to do, what, 1, 2, another 2 that side and probably another 5 this side. So I'm going to get to work trimming these down nice. I've got a tube of Tiger Seal in the car, and basically I'm just going to lay the rest of these on here. I'm going to carry on with it. Ah! So I've just got 2 more to do. It took me about an hour. Takes a bit of rigging up. But yeah, basically I trimmed them all at length. They're pretty close. And I've just scraped them just so they sit nice. Put a welding rod over the top to like bang them down flush. And we're just going at it with a poor man's Tiger Seal. But that is basically, it's fucking polyurethane black sealant. So yeah, I'm just gonna cut some more of these spacers, because obviously at home I was doing it one at a time and that was taking forever. So I'm gonna cut a load of these and do that. So I finally pulled my finger out my arse and actually got this done. So now I just need to leave it to set, and then I think I'll just give it a quick sand or something. Maybe fit it in the shot blast cabinet, I don't know. And then we'll just give it a primer in black. I'm not too fussed. It'll probably get another little fettle later on. So we'll get some paint on it for Sunday.